John Keene. As always, I would like to thank you guys for joining me. As such, you please add, follow, and check us out. Instagram, Facebook, at Best Damn Podcast, Twitter, The Real Best Damn. This isn't going to be a super long video tonight, but this will be a video nonetheless. This is also streaming over on Patreon, so all day, those of you that are patrons and you support me over on Patreon, I've been just redoing the whole Patreon thing. But just to be honest, I'm sick of not being able to do content that I actually want to do. And now Patreon has the ability to do the live streams and videos, so I have been uploading my entire library of videos over to Patreon. I do have a free section for the people that, just don't have money to support. I will always have content that's free. And for the people that do support, I have new uncensored content coming for you guys. I mean, I've got every interview, every, guest that's coming on, playlist for that, as well as all the uncensored content, all the shit I've gotten strikes on that you can't find nowhere, the most popular videos I've done, some of my favorites, and the coolest series that I like. So, I mean, go check me out over on Patreon. It's a good way to support me, for one. And for two, you don't have to fuck with YouTube or Facebook or any of that, so it's a big plus. I'm also going to be doing a lot more Twitter Spaces moving forward. I just really like them. They're cool. Those of you that have watched me for any amount of time knows that's how I got started, was just podcast, audio podcast. So it's really my favorite method of creating content, because I don't have to be on camera. I mean, anybody who watched me in the beginning knows that, it's fucking weird. I've come a long way, but I used to cover my face. I used to have a pop filter and a goddamn microphone, and I'd cover my face, and my hair would probably hang down at my face all the time, because I just really hated being on camera that much back in the day. But I guess I've gotten used to it over time. So, yeah. Tonight we're going to be talking about, and this is a really a cool subject, and dude, I got the lights blaring, so I'm fucking smoking hot right now. If I start sweating, you know why. Tonight we're going to be talking about, is New Age Spirituality a Psyop? And really the reason I want to get into this one in particular is because, for one, I deal with a lot of the New Age subject matter. Like myself, I talk about a lot of shit that people do consider New Age, but for those who aren't familiar with me for any amount of time, I actually started off with what you would call Christian fundamentalism, shit like that. That was really the base what I built was in that niche, and over time, as I just progressed in my learning, and I got braver and braver on the types of books I would read and the shit I would study, which I'm going to be adding the PDFs to a lot of the occult books and shit that we're going to be covering over on Patreon as well. I'm going to change the tier names and all of that too, guys. So there's going to be an inner circle. We're going to try to set it up as a kind of a school, where it's once a week we get together, do a live stream, we study different, occult, magical text and shit like that, hermetic text, metaphysics, just how I get down, I do it all. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun, and it's going to be a way for people to learn. So, and like I said, there will be, stuff for free. So even if you don't got money, go follow me over on Patreon. It's patreon.com, Best Damn Podcast Official. Those of you who remember, I used to have a huge Patreon, but they took it down. They deleted that motherfucker. Back in the day when they were doing all the censorship stuff over there. So, yeah. But anyways, you know, the new age concepts and a lot of the shit that people are getting into. And part of me really, like, I think it's so alluring and attractive. It's trendy. It's trendy, is it not? Like when we look at like new age shit, and let me pull up the chat so I can see if some people are talking and all that good stuff. Man, I love all of you. I just want to fucking put that out there too. Like anybody that's watching right now, over on YouTube or Patreon, thank you so fucking much for just rocking with me over the years. Like seriously, I cannot tell you how fucking thankful I am for you guys. Just if you didn't watch, there'd be no point in doing this, man. You know, and it's like I've gotten away from a lot of like my foundation. I've had just so many different spiritual fucking awakenings and encounters and shit like that over the years. It's not even funny. Hopefully we're not. Hopefully we're good to go and everything's cool. But it's like I've had so many different fucking, you know, what you would call, people call them, you know, awakenings or ascensions. I feel like spirituality is like it's an onion, right? It's like we're like an onion. When we look at like the seven chakra system and how it correlates to the seven main planets and all that, our solar plexus being the sun, and we think about circumambulation, you know, where we're going inward. We're orbiting within ourselves to the center of ourselves, our center of our own universe. Remember, universe is you inverted. So every fucking time, man, you make one of those orbits, right? Like you get closer to the center of who you really are, right? And that's kind of like where I'm at with shit. Like I can tell you, I feel like I have shed my skin 1,000 fucking times, y'all. Like seriously. There's been so many different versions of me. So many different experiences. Like I can't even begin to tell you how, you know, and I'm writing a book right now. I know I'm not supposed to say that because people are dickheads and they try to work against manifestations, but I just don't give a fuck. There's so many different versions of ourselves. And we are like an onion. Like we are peeling each layer. You know, every year, every book, every awakening, every new moon, every whatever the fuck you go off of, and every bit of self-discovery. It's like we get deeper into the core of who we are, you know? And I think it's only fair, you know, and I don't know, I know people are so fucking judgmental online, and that's why I don't fuck with people no more like I used to. But I think sometimes you gotta get like away from who you are to like know who you are, if that makes sense. You know? It's like when you dip your toes in, that's one thing I've never been afraid to do is like dip my toes in different waters. You know, I've gotten into black magic and all kinds of crazy shit, you know, just over the years. And, you know, I've met some absolute psychotic motherfuckers as a result, you know, and good experiences though. Good experiences though. It's like sometimes we got to know what we don't want to know what we do. Sometimes we got to stray off the path to know that that is the path that we're meant to walk. You know? And it's like every person handles different facets of life differently too. You know, it's like real easy to sit back and say how we would react if we were in a certain position or if we were a certain person or whatever, but you never fucking know until you know, right? Until you're in the position and you've experienced it yourself. And that's why experience translates into wisdom. See, knowledge is just knowledge, you know? Like one of the things that people used to really, like, my claim to fame was knowledge. It's like, I got a, like, photogenic memory when it comes to stats and books and all of that, right? And that's, one of the things I excel at. And, you know, knowledge is one thing. You know, we can accumulate knowledge and statistics and be book smart as fuck, but it does not translate into real ass wisdom, living experience, right? Living experience. And I feel like that is what I have gained more so over the last few years than anything, is like living experience. It's like you can take all the books and read them, but until you actually understand the mechanisms of how it works and you've seen it in real time, in real life, you know, you don't truly know. And it's like all the, you know, it's like we have a society now where elders are not regarded, you know, and it's like, I feel like it's actually the Bible that talks about that, you know, in the mouth of babes, and it talks, you know, basically how the elders in our generation, and I'm paraphrasing here, so please, you Bible thumping fuckers, don't attack me. But it talks about basically, you know, like, it would be the youth, you know, it's like, this generation would be so shitty, basically, that our elders wouldn't be regarded with wisdom, and like younger people would be teaching the old. Like, and that's a big kick in the dick, you know, for humanity, because it's never been that way. It's never been that way. You know, back when people were writing grimoires and all these different sacred texts, a lot of times they would refer to other people's words and call them their own, not because they were plagiarizing everything, but because that's how something would be taken seriously, as if it was said by a wise person, an older person, an elder, someone that had come before them, you know. Now we all think we're so fucking smart, we're so arrogant and egotistical, we think we know more than everybody. You know, it's like, here, listen to me. I've got the greatest opinion ever. You know, let me tell you all about how much smarter I am than you and how better I am than you. That's every fucking content creator on the face of the earth, I feel like. Especially in the spiritual community. You know, they're all preaching the same new age garbage. And I call it garbage because that's what it is. It's trash bag shit. You know, it's like there's no real deal value in all that love and light shit. We live in a duality, and whether we want to admit that, come to terms with that, or not, you know, I know some of you guys think you're going to manifest your way out of it and change it and all that, but you're not. You know, reality is what reality is, and the laws of creation are what the laws of creation are. You know, and that's what we have to work with. You know, and bad shit happens. There is evil. There is darkness. That is a fact. That is a fact. And go and fuck around if you don't believe me. And put darkness on other people and watch the reverberations, you know, that reflex wave kick you in your face. Because it will, eventually. One way or another. I promise you that. You know. We are all connected and we're all one. Yes, that's true. But what a lot of people don't realize is that we're all being indoctrinated into Luciferianism on a grand scale. See, I started getting hip to this back in like 2015-ish, 2016-ish, you know. My Christian brain was like, you know, why are they pushing, you know, certain things onto the people? Why do we have the masses? You know, this was shit that was hidden, occulted, kept away from everybody, then all of a sudden it's being unveiled for all to see. Right? All of a sudden you get to know about all the fucked up rituals and pedophilia and sigils and symbolism and signs and everything that you can think of. Why? You know? I could point to our Pike, the 3 World Wars, and talk about how they have this outlined, the Third World War being a final social cataclysm, right, where the agentors of the Illuminati will bring people into the pure doctrine of Lucifer, right, by mutually destroying the atheist and nihilist Christianity, the Muslim Arabic world, and the political state of Israel. right? He was the modern day father of Freemasonry, whether you believe that or not. His book Morals and Dogma was not even meant for the public at large. It was to be disseminated throughout the Masonic lodges in the United States and Canada. He was the Grand Master over the entire North America as a Freemason. And no matter what your opinion is of Freemasonry and its infiltration of the United States, our founding fathers built this country on Freemasonry. Flat out. Go look at the Statue of Liberty, homie. You know, it's right there. You know, that whole liberty movement, enlightenment, the light bearer, that's Lucifer. That's why when you look at the statue, she has the spikes of Hecate, which is the goddess of witchcraft and sexual promiscuity. Right? We are the whore of Babylon, according to the Bible. And that's why we're Israel's bitch. You know. And we whore ourselves out throughout the entire world. By we, I mean the United States. Not me personally, but I have contributed to the Babylonian system, as have you. As have you. You know. We are naturally now materialist and atheist by nature. You know. People don't think they are, but they are. I promise you this. Even when you look at, you know, like metaphysics and shit, and this is how you know you're getting pushed into this whole fucking scientific cult and all of this. Like, this is how you know. We try to take spirituality and make it provable to the academics, right? Try to put some science behind it, you know? Like, there's a science to spirituality now, and it's metaphysics, and we make it scientific and all of this, but honestly, it's beyond. And we're trying to do this that way it's accepted by the mainstream, and it's slowly but surely happening, you know, because you're being indoctrinated into a one-world system, where it's one world religion, one world government, one world, right? So all things have to be congruent and work together like that. They have to fit together. That's how this puzzle piece works. It's why it's sacred sciences, right? And if you don't know this, the Nazis were practicing all of this. You know, this is the rise of the Aryans and all of that. You know, but you're living in it now. You're experiencing it now. It's veiled, it's hidden, it's occulted, but it's still right in your fucking face. Why do you think Hollywood is so satanic? You know, pumping out that symbolism of sex. What? I don't know who the fuck is for. I'm not sure what the fuck that person is posting. I probably should have blocked them, but whatever. You love this new sub. Well, thank you. I'm glad that you enjoy this. But we have this love and light and this fuzzy and warm shit that we're pushing now to everybody, and you know, it's like if we lived in a world like that, it would be amazing. You know, it would be amazing if we could just manifest away all the darkness and pretend like it doesn't exist. Right? That would be fucking cool. Really. It would be great. But that's not how it works. You know, that's not how it works. You know, and they've taken Christ out of everything because, well, for one, the Christian church, they've done a lot of evil in our world. Like, they have really busted your head when it comes to the knowledge. You know, they buried all the paganism and all of that from the prying eyes of the public a long time ago. They're the reason all of our knowledge is hidden and occulted today. You know? And I know a lot of people don't like that if I attack Christianity, but the truth is what the truth is. You're not going to find the truth in organized religion. You're just going to find bits and pieces. You know, I mean, I think if you stick to the red letters and follow Christ, you'll probably do okay. You know, because that's a really good, that's the best model we have for how to be a true son of God, you know. And when we look at son of God, just the context of that, you know, we were made in the image of the Elohim, right? And image means a phantom or projection and illusion. That means that what we are is just a projection of something higher from somewhere else. It's a spiritual world, the 5D. So when they talk about 5D ascension, it's like acting like as if you're not already there. That's what kind of fucks me up about New Age too. It's like 5D ascension. I'm gonna ascend to the 5D. No, you're already there. You're already there. It's about tapping into that and like getting in tune with that, because that's the piece of God that you are, right? I can tell you I've had experiences, moments of enlightenment where I've been able to see myself in everyone, you know, and see that common identity that we all share. It doesn't last for long. It's a hard thing to get your vibe even that high. It's happened. But, you know, even to attain that, we got to keep our temples pure. You know, we got to do a lot of things that most of us don't, myself included. You know, so there's no denying that each and every one of us are a fractal or a fragment of that Fibonacci sequence, that golden ratio that's in everything, you know. Like we are that divine spark. It's within each and every one of us. So when they talk about 5D ascension and all of the new age shit, it's like they're taking away the fact that you're already there. That the only thing you really need to do is to tune into that. To tune into the frequency of self. You know, you don't have to do no work. That's why the story of Christ is so beautiful. It's like when they say he died for your sins and all of that. It's like it's trying to convince you that there's nothing you can do to be worthy of the gift from God. There's no amount of works. No amount of deeds. You can't barter your way with money and gold and all that shit. It's like it's the gift of you just being born. That's your inheritance. That's your inheritance. It sucks that Christians think that nobody else in the world has it unless they make some proclamation to Jesus. But the truth is, you know, think about all, and if we think about all the different names of Jesus, just I'm going to point this out. Jesus, he's us, right? Yeshua, yes you are, right? Isu is you, right? Every allegory or anagram or whatever for his name is saying it's you, right? The Christos means anointing, right? It is an anointing. Right? And when we talk about anointing, you can go into a metaphysical way of looking at it, and fucking hate these notifications. You can go to a metaphysical way of looking at it and talk about, you know, the anointing of oil, which is a sacred secretion from your pineal gland, which comes from Kundalini activation and all of that, right? But the truth of the matter is you were born with that anointing. You're born with that crown. You know, the world is undoing it from the day that you're born. Why do you think kids are so in tune and in touch with spirits? They see ghosts and all of that. It's because they haven't been indoctrinated to the fucking point that they're blind. The world is building box upon box upon box around you. Everything that we do that creates division fragments ourselves more and more, separates us more and more from God. Yeah, Ginger Grimm says, hi, John. Yep, the New Age is doing a great job of controlling the perspective on all these soul and spiritual matters. It's up to us to study hard to know what's real. Absolutely. The star in a jar, right? That's what it is. Soul luminescence, a star in a jar, you know? And we'll get into that concept more as we go through and do more videos. I'm going to be doing a lot more frequently. But you know, when you look at Luciferianism and what all the different concepts entail, you know, this whole neutrality system that they're pushing on you, like creating balance and being neutral and passive. I neither accept or condone or whatever's going on in my life. Bullshit. It's like that is turning you, for one, into a fucking robot. For one, alright? When you act like you are goddamn the Buddha over every matter within your life. Like, it's just not real. It's not genuine. It's fake. It's fraudulent. You feel me? That whole passivity thing. I'm not telling you to latch on to every emotion that passes through, right? I'm not telling you to get upset over everything within your life. But we are human beings. We are meant to be passionate. We are meant to be emotional. You know? That's what makes us fucking alive. That's the difference between us and an animal. You know? You got to understand the people that are pushing the agendas on you and why they're pushing these agendas. They want you to be in that Baphomet neutrality state. Why? That way you're a fucking blank slate. You know what I mean? They want you to be numb as fuck to the world. They've already desensitized you with blood, guts, and gore, and sex, and all that shit. Right? They've desensitized you that way. So now they want to desensitize you towards happiness as well. It's like everything's light and love, but it's not. It's all light and love. It's all love. Right? That's really that way you don't have boundaries. Right? Within your own self. That way you won't create boundaries or have a sense of morality. Like, if you look at Alice Bailey and the 10-point plan in the New World Order, a lot of what we already have seen now has already taken place. Right? Attacking of the nuclear family. Right? That universalism shit, right? That's how they blur the lines between male and female. Right? And tell you that men can have babies and it doesn't matter if you have a dick or not, right? You can be whatever you want. If you say you're a fucking dolphin, you're a dolphin. You know? And people think they're animals now, too. And if you look back at the history, that was like the fall of the Lemurian race, was actually interbreeding with animals and all that. And that's like, you know, back with Egypt and all those concepts. You know, what that did was create base creatures that had animalistic tendencies. And we see the tales of those. And there's a reason why the Book of Enoch and these Watchers and anybody who practices Solomon's magic. Okay, let's go here. If anybody who practices Solomon's magic knows that there are a certain amount of entities that are a part of our collective unconscious. Do you know why they're a part of our collective unconscious? Because they're animalistic spirits that were base. Right? They were distortions of ourself pre-flood. Right? They're demons. They're distorted, warped forms of the human psyche. Right? So when the flood came, that was all wiped out. We got a clean slate. Because we were devouring one another. And not just physically, spiritually. We were feeding off of each other. We were becoming parasitic, like the entities that literally coax us into doing this shit. A lot of these entities and spirits, and everything has a spirit behind it. Just like you do drugs, it's pharmakia. Right? You're feeding into a spirit. There is a spirit to everything. I don't care what it is. Everything that you see in this world is given place by spirit. Period, man. There's no way around it. What metaphysics tries to do is to take that element out and make it scientific. And I'm a fan of metaphysics. I love metaphysics. You guys know this. I love astrology. I love tarot. I love the occult. I love all of it. Right? I study it all. But I'm being for real when I'm telling you that if you jump down the rabbit hole too deep and you don't know what you're doing, you'll never come back out. You know, you'll never come back out. You'll start to see God, not as a spirit or as a presence, but as electricity. Right? And electricity, pure just electricity. You know, it's like God has a nature. There's a feeling to God. You know, and that's love. That's passion. And why is God in the Bible a mean motherfucker? Well, because that's patriarchal energy. That's a masculine energy, which they're trying to neuter our entire society, by the way, and make us all pussies. And I hate to tell you, but masculine energy goes to war. It kicks ass. It judges shit. Right? It protects. It defends. It will fuck you up. That's what men do. That's what males do. That's a masculine energy. Right? I know people don't like that, and they're like, now we have toxic femininity, which is crazy. It's just as ugly, by the way, as toxic masculinity. Just like you see a dickhead that, you know, just overly masculine and toxic and, you know, weak. It's just as ugly. It's just as... and they push that big time with the New Age movement as well. We're all tapping into our divine feminine, right? Everybody. And you hear these twin flame journeys and all of this shit, and it's really to gas you up, to get you on the bus. That way you've got something to believe in. You've got a stake in the game. You'll follow along. You'll play along, you know. Opening Pandora's box? Absolutely opening Pandora's box. Salt spirits your entire life until you rebuke them and do not allow them to take your time. Well, I'll tell you what, there are spirits, and I tried to do a video on this, but to no avail. There are spirits that feed off of fucking misery. You know? Feed off of brokenness. You know? We pass these bitches sexually, too. You know, they're what you call spiritually transmitted diseases. We pass them sexually. And there is demons within the collective right now, and it's played out as fuck, but that wants to convince you that you're powerless within the system, that wants to, you know, convince you that you're broken, that wants to feed off of your misery, feed off of negativity, you know. Yeah, thank you for subscribing, Elia Buchanan. Appreciate that. They feed off of your negativity. They feed off of all that, your misery. And why? Because that's what they do. They're parasites. That's what they eat, is darkness. You can't have one without the other, the yin and the yang. And that's what I mean when I talk about the love and light. It's absent of that dualism, you know? It's absent of the flip side. Do you know that you would not be in a physical body if it wasn't for darkness? Truth. Without matter, without the reflection, without the black mirror, your ass would not be able to walk around in the physical. That's how you're here. So you might hate darkness and you might want to do away with it all, but your ass will be floating just in the ethers, not able to touch shit, feel shit, taste shit, smell shit without it. Right? And if we look at Solomonic magic, right, we know that the first 3 points of creation is how something is trapped. So creation was made by this. The first point being God, good. Second point being the devil, Satan, darkness. And we are that third point, right? We're that third point. That's why the triangles and the Illuminati and all that. That's why it's such a sacred symbol, right? And the sacred numbers, triune God, Father, Mother, Son, these different aeons and these different eras throughout time. You know, before the patriarchal period of, you know, the Yahweh, right? The ass-busting God, revenge, I'll fuck you up God. We had a matriarchal God, right? That's why there was like druids and nature motherfuckers, right? Because it was all about that feminine. We live now in the aeon of Horus, right? Horus is a child. We're babies, still in the scheme of things. You know, if you look at like Helena Blavatsky and all this, she talks about, you know, there being 7 different epochs of races in humanity when we're in the fifth. The fifth. I want to say the last one was the Atlanteans. Before that was Lemurians, and you know, we started off as just an astral being. We're descending downward each time. You know. And we are what's called the Aryan epoch, or the Aryan race. And I know that's got a bad negative connotation with a lot of people, especially with the New Age shit, right? But if you think about that age of Aquarius, I want you to understand, who is the prince of the power of the air? Who is the prince of the power of the air? Who do you know him as? Satan. Prince of the power of the air. Right? Aryan. Right? Aries of the east. Destruction come from the east. Right? In the Bible and all of this, like, they're telling you how it all works. And then when we look at the age of Aquarius that we're cycling into, right? It's the air. You know, it's like we've mastered the water. That's why the Aquarian, and Christ said, he said, how will we know when the end came? And he said, you know, we would see the man, you know, carrying the pail of water to follow him into his house. That was his astrological house that he was talking about. And the reason he's carrying the water is because he's mastered the water. And it's about the ethers, the air, right? And those powers that be, those elites that you know, I can't fucking stand that term, by the way. Because in my mind, nobody that's elite would attempt to control everyone. There's nothing elite about that. That's weak to me. It's a weak, outdated, you know, system. But it's mastering the air or the ether, you know, and that's why you see everything. And this is how they do it. They do it according to the astrology, because that's how magic works, right? It's not just word magic that they're doing to you through, you know, consumerism and television and propaganda and all that shit, right? Plenty of good word magic. That's why when you understand, you stand under the spelling of the word, right? In the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, right? It's the sound and the light. That's what this place is. Sound and light. Light and darkness. Above, below. Right? And Aquarian is about the changing of a social structure. So that's why you're seeing society become about collectives now. And if you guys ever seen the Illuminati card game, this is showing you that you're playing right into their fucking hands. What does a collective do? Right? A collective is a pyramid scheme, by the way. Alright? So collectivism is when you collect a large group of people under one figurehead or one character, right? That way they can be controlled and influenced in a certain way, form, or fashion. Or you can assassinate them, whatever, right? By assassinating the character. I'll give you an example. Trump. right? Trump was one of those figureheads. Everybody thought that this meant, and nobody paid attention to the fucking famous Satanist Maria Abramovich when she called Trump the Great Magus and said that he should be president, right? Because he would shake everything up so bad that it would trigger the awakening. This was what they wanted, okay? And they wanted everybody to be comfortable with their beliefs and, to come out and voice their opinions. That way they could pinpoint you, put crosshairs on you, neutralize you, shut you the fuck down. That way you don't get in the way of their momentum of the agenda that they're trying to continue as we speak. And I would say, fight the power, but you've already been beaten. Like they've already whooped y'all's ass, my ass included. They whooped our asses, we walked right into it. Everything that we thought we were doing to fight against, they already had anticipated that. It's problem, reaction, solution. Right? And it's played right into their hands. Including this giant awakening that we think is so good. We're just all being indoctrinated into Luciferianism now. It's like, we think there's some grand fucking thing happening on the planet. Yeah, this is the New World Order. That's the grand thing. It's a utopian dream. It's a utopian dream. And it sounds good, man. Like, I gotta keep it real. Like, the idea, the concept in itself, I like it. I don't just like it, I love it. No borders. No borders. Everybody, one nation, one race, one everything, right? Like, that sounds so good. Like, that's what it should be. But it's not what you think, though. It's not like as if we're in heaven with God and that kind of one world order. It's a one world system so they can control all of us. Forced vaccinations on all of us. Digital IDs on all of us. Right? Control, manipulate the one currency. Make it fucking worthless. Decide who rises and who falls. What's news and what's fake. What's real and what's not. In some way, shape, form, or facet, and that's why they say don't cast your pearls before swine. And the swine, in this case, is us. We are what they consider to be the profane, because we gobble up shit all day, every day. All day, every day. We gobble up shit. Their shit. And we love it. And our fathers and our grandfathers, they fucking loved it too. And if anybody ever hits you with truth, speaks truth, that's not popular. No, there's nothing trendy about the truth. I promise you that. You will fall from popularity. If you're pop and you got motherfuckers following you and you got influence, start talking real shit and watch how fast they walk away. Watch how fast they walk away. Well, thank you very much. We all have that gift. A Biffum FM. Truly enjoy your knowledge and have always done so regardless of any situation you've been in your life, John. You truly have the gift of the supernatural knowledge, being a blessing and a curse. Yeah, we all have that gift. We all have different gifts, but we all have the ability to tap into that, within ourselves. It's there. Most people, I'm not knocking anyone, to each their own. We all have, if we were all the same, it'd be a boring fucking world. even though that's what they're trying to do. Most people just don't have the time in the day to study like I do. Most people just don't, you know, they don't get into it like that. I mean, you gotta be a fucking fanatic about this stuff to unlock the mysteries. They're guarded that way. If you look at like books like the Picatrix and shit like that, you know, a lot of these magic grimoires and shit, they will literally say like they were written in particular ways to where only the wise would understand them. It's like it's not something, and they're meant to be like that. That way, not just any novice could pick it up and, you know, be able to fuck somebody up or control and dominate the world with it. You know, it's like, so you guys know, like, this is something that's, you know, you dedicate yourself to. When you walk this path, you walk it in every way. And when you don't, it shows. You know, I try still to be a normal person, and I fucking suck at it. Like, I just do. I'm not good at it. I'm not good at being a normal person. I try so hard, y'all. Like, I've tried to blend in. I've tried to fit in. I've tried to camouflage my fucking self amongst the normies or whatever, and it does not work. It does not work. You can't unknow. You know? Talking about the weather will never pacify you anymore. You know? When you're speaking on a soul level, it's all you thirst for. You know? It's like you can't have normal relationships. No matter how good intentioned a person is or how beautiful of a soul a person is. You know, if you don't relate, you don't relate. And sadly, you know, the hermit is and that's what I am too, I'm a Virgo. Hermes, the hermit, you know, is a solo creature, and I know why. Because the path of illumination is a solo one. It's when you walk alone. And not everybody's built for that. You know, not everybody's built for that. And you guys know what I mean. If you're on it, you know what I mean. You know. And it's not a bad thing if you're not built for that. If that's not for you, you don't have to be that. You can be who you are. That's who you were made to be. Whoever you are, you were made to be that person. You don't have to emulate no fucking body. You know, if you just like to watch YouTube videos and occasionally flip through a book now and then, who gives a fuck? You know, however you do it, you do it. You know, don't let these people, you know, put shit on you, you know, about like, being yourself. That's one thing. It still blows me away, the amount of fucking adults that I see that are so worried about what other people think. Worried about what their neighbors think, their coworkers think. Well, I can't post that because of the people at my job, da 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 da, you know. Okay. It's like if people don't accept you for who you are, then fuck them. You know? When do we become, and that's what keeps us in this cage, too. The societal cage. You know? Nobody's gonna come out and say that darkness is necessary and shit like that. Why? Because it's not fucking trendy and it's not cool and you're not gonna get likes and views and all that shit for it. You know what I mean? They're afraid that, you know, people will cast them out of the spiritual community. Fuck you if you don't like it, is how I feel. And this happens all through our lives, though. People are afraid to be themselves. They're afraid to be true to who they really are because of what everyone else is saying or what everyone else is thinking. First off, let me tell you something. Most people don't give two fucks about you in what you're doing. Most people are so self-absorbed in their own shit that they will never pay attention to you and what you're doing. Or give a shit about it. Enough to give a shit about it, right? And for two, it's like if somebody doesn't accept you for like the truest version of you, it's because they don't know the truest version of themselves. You know? It's like if you're not on the same wave, then you're going to get crushed by it. That's how I see it. Like, you know, get on it or get the fuck out of the way. You know, I'm not going to water myself down for nobody. I'm not going to be something different for anyone. Yeah, we all do die alone. We come into this bitch alone, we leave this bitch alone. And at night when you lay your head down on the pillow, you may have that person next to you that you have sex with fucking 5 times a week, 3 times a week, depending on your, you know, all that. But your thoughts are your own. Their thoughts are their own. People come and go. People come and go. You can be married. You can have fucking blood oaths. It doesn't matter. I'm telling you. People come and go. You know. Yeah. It's like, and at the end of the day, you know, it's like 5 times a week. I'm like 5 times a day. I'm a whore. Yeah. I'm bad. All I do is party and have sex and fucking study magic. I'm a weirdo. But, yeah. And it's like, I've even had to learn, too, about my sexual energy because I'm a whore. And, you know, it's quantum entanglement, basically. You know, whenever 2 fucking, you know, atoms, 2 molecules, 2 particles come together, like they're forever connected. You know? It's like that astral connection that you make with somebody. I'm telling you, you better be careful. I've had people fucking drain the life out of me by an astral cord from having sex with them. I swear to God. Drain the fucking life right out of me. You know? I felt a physical drain from it. You know? I've had people in my energetic field that I couldn't get out for years. Haunting me. I mean, they had sexual demons and they latched right onto my ass. You know? I'm a demon magnet. You know? When you're a fuck up, that's what happens. You know, it's like when you're into, you know, crazy shit, you're opening yourself up. You know? You're opening yourself up to demonic entities. You know? And whatever part of yourself that you're not whole with, whatever you're fragmented, wherever you're fragmented at within yourself, that's what they pick at. You know? Why do you think porn's like so big? And I'm actually not, that's one thing I'm not addicted to is porn. So, I skipped out on that one. I mean, you know, don't know why I missed that one. Maybe I should have got addicted to porn. I don't know. But why do you think society is like, and everybody, I mean, you're called fucking vanilla if you're not into some, you know, kinky shit now, because society as a whole has been desensitized to sex. There's no sensuality in it, right? There's no passion in it. There's no love. It is it's the act of creating life. Do you know how sacred that is? You know? Do you know how sacred that is? Like, you're a bad motherfucker, the fact that you can, male and female, come together and literally act as God. Right? The God in you, literally, boom, sparking a new life, a new creation. You are a bad motherfucker for that. And we waste it. We waste it. We distort it. And we make it fucking ugly. You know, to feed our demonic side, our distorted side. Yeah. Let me choke you and slap you and all that. Let me make it about pain and all this, because that people need to be gassed up in different ways now, right? They've been hit with pornography and fucking sex to the point that they're desensitized. So if you ain't slapping asses, pulling hair, biting and scratching and doing all this crazy shit, you ain't shit, right? You can't get nobody excited no more. All these dudes watch porn and they think that when they get with a woman that she's going to be like the bitch in the porn video, right? It's not. Maybe a few of them are, you know, just depends. But, you know, it's like, and they need to up the ante. You know, it has to be more and more, crazier and crazier, because it's feeding a demon within them, right? It's a demonic entity, literally feeding, and it wants to distort the act of creation more and more and more, right? To the point that where, you know, they're not even having sex with the person they're with. They're getting off watching somebody else embarrass them or fucking make them a cuck or humiliate them and shame them. Like, that type of shit. Like, people go wild with it. They go wild with it, you know? Flat out torture each other, and like, if you don't think that, and you know, if you're into that, I'm not kink shaming you, but I'm just keeping it real. That's demonic as fuck, bro. Just saying. You know, like, it's demonic as fuck. Like, something's off within you. Like, if that's the shit it takes to get you going. You know? Like, for real. Like, you have a flaw within your auric field. There is a character defect there. It's usually a trauma of some type. You know? What happened to, like, and the way that we work, we're, you know, and when we're driven by lust, you know, we're going to operate on that level, that base, lower level. You know, and I can't say shit. 99% of my life I've been driven by lust. So I'm an expert on that one. But when we're driven by love, it's different. You know? It's very different. You don't tire of someone that you love. You know what I mean? They don't bore you. You don't get bored with that. Right? It's an inner experience. You know? It's deeper than just the flesh. You know? You psychically connect to someone you love. Your spirits are intermingling. That's what the masculine does. He imprints on the female. You know? That's why it talks about, you know, men are the head of the house and all that. We're supposed to lead, naturally. We're supposed to lead. People don't like to hear that. I don't give a fuck. Just to keep it real. That's what it is. Like, I didn't make the rules, dude. You know, that's what masculine energy does. In numerology, masculine is number 1, male 1 energy, female 2 energy. 1 plus 2 is 3, right? 3 is a child. 3 plus 3 is 6, and that's family and home. God is in the numbers. Family is in the fucking numbers. Like, creation tells us the way it's supposed to be. Right? But your new ageness is going to tell you that, you know, it's all love, man. Right? Give it away freely. Go fuck everybody. Doesn't matter. It does. It does. That's why in ancient Egypt, and a lot of people don't know this, but the Ankh which is the symbol of life and regeneration. How it's got that loop on the top of the cross. It was also symbolic for what like the masters or the gods would do with their energy. When they would have sexual orgasm, they'd unk the energy over their head back into themselves. So it would rise up, come back in the crown, and back down. They didn't pass that seed just to be, there was no facials back in Egypt, right? There was no face shots just to be doing it. You know what I mean? Like, they kept their seed within them because that was their life force. That was their life force. It's like as you get older, your sex drive goes down. You have less life force. It's why when you're 16, you're like a fucking bunny rabbit. You feel me? You're giving it away. And it's like, how many... I mean, I'm there too, Paolo. At least. I probably fucked 1,000 people, for real. Who knows? I'm surprised I even have a spirit left at this point. I hear that. People can connect you forever. You can, Deborah Trudeau says, you can end up feeling their stuff in their place and wondering why you're still experiencing what you walked away from or what walked away from you. That is so true. I'm not going to say their name, but I have a person in particular that I did sex magic with, actually. She was my girlfriend. I loved her a lot. Like anybody. She was a very spiritual person, too. And I'm telling you what, I stuck to me, like, stay. Like, not as bad as it used to be. I've done a lot of cord cutting and shit like that. But literally, I feel like a piece of my fucking soul got stuck on her, and a piece of hers got stuck on me because we did sex magic together. So, and boy, oh boy, if you're going to do stuff like that, you better make sure that your partner is legit. They're not on the fuck shit. Buffering. Oh shit. Well, sorry if it's buffering. Everybody please hit that like for me too if you're in the chat. Hopefully we're still rocking. Let me know if you guys can still hear me and see me in the chat. It's spinning on your end too.